Looks like there's a couple of blown chips here. See if there's any damage underneath the PCB here. So let's see what happens when we plug this in. Hi, in this video we're going to be trying to fix this Hikvision pan tilt zoom camera. So this belongs to a friend of mine. He bought it second hand. It had the wall bracket on it and it had a bit of mains cable coming out of it. So he connected it up and it promptly went bang. And then he realised that it was supposed to be AC 24 volts, not AC 240 volts. So I said, I don't know if you'll be able to do anything with it, but we'll have a go. So it looks like we need to remove this top part here. Looks like there's 3 screws, and then we'll see what damage is inside. Let's grab a screwdriver. Now we did see, he has had a quick look in here, and there was some blown ICs. And I think he said there was a big black mark on the circuit board, so we'll have to see how we get on with this one. I'm not too hopeful. Right, let's see if we can get a glimpse in here then. I might have to see if I can get this board out and get it to sort of rest. Something a bit like that. Right, I'll just zoom down a little bit on that. Well, I can see a bit of a black mark just round here on the circuit board. It looks like there's a couple of blown chips here. And that's about all I can see up to now. So I think the first thing we'll have to do is try and get this board out. So I'll need to disconnect all of these connectors here, I think. There's a couple more over here. And I'll get my screwdriver and I'll see if I can get this little board out. Right, so that's all of the screws out of it. So it looks like we can just unplug these 3 plugs here. Or maybe not. Let's see if we can get that one out. Not quite in there. There we go, that's that one out. Right, I'll get this part out of the way then. Right, let's zoom down a bit on this board and get a bit of better view of it. I still might get this under the microscope. Yeah, so we've got a couple of, I don't know if those are MOSFETs or ICs there. And possibly see a partial number on this one. I'm not sure about that one, whether that's the number or whether the number's actually on that part there that's missing. Not sure if that track there's being blasted or not. So it looks like we've got a 10 amp 300 volt fuse there. That looks like it's let the magic smoke out. Let's just have a look on the other side of the board. Well, it actually doesn't look as bad as what I was expecting. It looks like we've got a bridge rectifier here, so we can check that with the test meter. And I guess this is some kind of DC to DC converter here. So that might convert the 24 volts into a lower voltage to actually power the camera. A little power LED there, I think. Possibly another one down there. Right, I shall get this under the microscope and we'll start testing some components. I don't know whether it's worth removing those 2 first. Actually, I'll get rid of the microscope first. And we'll see if we can identify what these 2 components are. Right, I'll just go and set the microscope up. Right, I've got the microscope set up. Let's see if we can make any numbers out on these two ICs. So this one looks like 2378 and possibly a Texas Instrument part. That could be 2376, I think. I don't know if I can zoom in a bit more with that. Let's try the digital zoom, see if we can make anything out a bit better. It could be 2978. And that one, it looks like FDS 96242. So I'll look up those numbers shortly and see if we can make out what those are. So I think the first thing we'll do is we'll test some components. So let's see where the power comes in. Obviously it goes through this fuse here, which is going to be blown. We'll just double check. And that's it there. Yeah, well, I wasn't expecting it not to be blown, but let's see where this bridge rectifier is. It is over here, so let's just see if that's blown or anything, or shorted. That's on these 4 pins here, so I'll just go into diode check. And actually seems to check okay, although there is a short on the output of it, which isn't really surprising. So that's probably those ICs have gone short. We've got some TVS diodes here. Well, they don't appear to be shorted. There's another one down here. Let's see if I can get on that one. Well, that one doesn't seem to be shorted either. So I think we're going to have to remove those ICs before we can check the rest of the components, because if they're shorted, it's going to be putting shorts on other components. So for instance, if we try and measure across this capacitor here, I would have thought we're going to get a short, and we do. So I think the best thing is going to be to remove these chips. But in order to do that, I'm probably going to have to remove these two capacitors here, because if I put hot air on there, I think it might make these capacitors pop. So I'll remove those two capacitors first, and then we'll remove these ICs, and then we'll continue checking for shorts. Well, after a bit of persuasion, I managed to remove the two capacitors. So I'm just going to add some fresh leaded solder to these ICs here first, and then we'll use the rework station to remove them. I'm just going to put a little bit of flux on this first. Oh, a bit more than expected. Right, let's get some hot air on it. I'm just wondering if this has got a pad underneath it. Yes, I did have. I'm just going to use a bit of solder wick and clean off the excess solder here. Just going to give that a bit of a clean up. Right, I think we'll continue testing for shorts now then. Right, let's just see if we get a short on that capacitor now. We'll still do, but that might be across this inductor here. Looks like we've got a diode here. Yeah. Well, them two legs are connected together, but it looks like that diode is shorted as well. I don't know if we can see a number on that. I'll just refocus the microscope. So 6100 CT. It looks like we've got a little voltage regulator or something down here. Let's just see what that measures. That actually might be okay. So far it looks like we need two ICs, a fuse, looks like a Zener diode by the marking here. Now that could be this resistor here. Looks like there's a 10 ohm resistor just above there, so yeah, and it's wired in. It's wired in parallel with this diode, so that's what we're measuring there. We have a switching MOSFET or transistor, I think, for this transformer just here. Let's see what that measures. Must be a MOSFET. Yeah. So that seems to be okay. I'm not sure about that IC there. I don't know what markings is on it. I'll just see if I can refocus that. That's the TL2842, which on the face of it looks okay. So I think what I might do first is just try ordering some of these components that we can see that are blown up. Replace those and see how we get on. I think I'm going to remove this fuse as well and just see if there's any damage underneath the PCB here, because I'm not sure if there's a track or something. Maybe not. Maybe it's been just black soot off when this fuse has gone. So I think I'll pull the fuse out next and we'll just have a look just under there just to see if there's any damage on the actual circuit board. So I've just finished removing the old fuse there. I think the circuit board looks okay. I think we'll just give this a clean up with some IPA and a cotton bud. And we'll just see what it cleans up like. Yeah, I think that looks fine. Right, I think we'll remove that Zener diode next, which is this one here. It might be a bit close to that capacitor there though, so I'll see if I can maybe heat it up from this angle, so I'm heating away from the capacitor. Right, that's that out of the way. So let's just check this out of circuit now. Yeah, so we've got 11 ohms that way, or 10 ohms, 1 ohm that way, and about 11 ohms between the two legs, so that's definitely fried as well. So we need to order one of those, a fuse, and it looks like possibly a MOSFET and an IC. So I'll order those, and then we'll continue when those arrive.
3 days later.
Well, it's been a few days and all of the new parts have arrived. So let's get it back under the microscope. We'll fit the parts and then we'll see if we can get it working again. Right, I'm going to fit this IC first, which is the power over Ethernet controller. Let's put a bit of flux on there first. It might be worth actually preheating the board first with it having that pad under there. I think I'll heat the board up first a bit. I'm just going to move that along a bit. Just going to put some more flux on this IC, on this part of the board rather. Right, let's heat this one up then. Right, I'm just going to go over those with the iron. I'm just going to spin that round. Right, so I've got this diode to go here, so let's do that one next. And I'll just do this one with the iron. And I think the last thing to put in is just the fuse and then replace the capacitors. Right, got the new fuse here, let's pop that in. And we'll just snip off the excess. And we've got the 2 capacitors to go back in. So hopefully that should be it. I did check the resistors and things around these ICs just to make sure that they measure okay, and they do. And I don't think it got any further than this diode, because that MOSFET seems to check out okay. I'm not 100% sure about that IC, because I've got no way of really testing it. So I think what we'll do next is we'll put it back together and we'll see if we can power it up. Well, I've half put it back together, and what I thought we'd try, because I actually haven't got a 24 volt AC power supply I can use, but I thought, well, we'll try powering it with the power over Ethernet cable. So let's see what happens when we plug this in. And not a lot. I thought we should get one of those LEDs or something to light up. But we don't seem to be getting anything at all. Well, that's not good. Right, it looks like it's going to require some more work. So I thought we'll just try debugging the power board itself. So I've got the power over Ethernet cable here. Let's plug that in. And it seems that the power comes in on this inductor here and goes to pins 1 and 4 on this IC here, which is the one that we replaced. I'll just see if I can zoom down a bit more. And we'll just see if we get any voltage on that IC. And the answer is no. Just going to unplug this a moment. Let's just measure the resistance between pins 1 and 4. Yeah. Well, it looks like we've got a dead short going on there still. I'm sure I checked this capacitor before. We seem to have a dead short across that. And I'm sure that's the supply into this IC. Because I think what happens is the AC, when you put it in here, goes through this fuse, through a little bit filtering, through this bridge rectifier to these caps, and then goes back into the same IC here in any case. Which is why that was blown up. So it looks like there's something else shorted that I've missed. So I've just flipped the board over here, and on the back of that inductor we have a TVS diode across it, and there's also a couple of TVS diodes across it here as well. So let's just see if those measure short as well. And that one does. And that one does. I'm just wondering if one of these has failed as well. So I think we'll just start removing these and then see if that makes any difference. I mean, it could be that little tiny capacitor there, but I'm sure I checked that before. That's the only other thing I can see. I mean, there's a lot of them across here as well. Let's just try some of those. Well, at least we're getting more sensible readings on those. So I'm sure I'll check these ones as well. Let's try taking some off on the other side. Right, put that to one side. Right, let's just test that with the meter. Well, that seems to be short. Let's just check these other ones now then. We've got K there now. Let's just try this one. So I wonder if it was just that. Let's just try plugging some power in now and we'll just see what it does. I'm not going to connect it to the rest of the camera for now. We'll just see if we get a light on or anything. Once we find the cable. Whoa. Well, that looks promising. Looks like we've got a number of LEDs now. Some kind of watchdog LED perhaps. Oh, there's actually 3 LEDs. So it looks like we need a TVS diode. So what I might do, I don't think I'll have one of those. I'll have to see what number it is. Let's get my little spyglass here. And it is a 5PGG. I don't think I've got one of those. I'll probably have to order one. But it should work for now. These are just for protection, and obviously it's done its job. When there's been a power surge, it's actually shorted out and saved the rest of the electronics, or some of it anyway. Right, let's try this in the camera now, and we'll see if the camera does anything. Right, I've just screwed the board back in for now, so we'll just connect up the Ethernet port. We'll plug the cable in. Let's see what happens. Well, I've got lights on there. I've got the same lights on that we had. In fact, I'm sure I had a green light on, but I can't see that one now. Yeah, there was a little green light on down there, but that one isn't lit now. It doesn't seem to be doing a lot. I wonder if there's more problems with this then. I thought we might have been able to save this one, but now I'm not so sure. I don't know whether it's travelled further down the line than what I thought, perhaps. It doesn't seem to be doing a great deal. Oh, shh. Well, it seems to be doing something now, really. Yeah. Well, I wasn't expecting that. It must take longer to boot up than what I thought. Well, it seems to be doing something now. I think I need a stiff drink now. Right, so I wonder if we have an IP address. It seems like there's some fan or something came on now. But this does appear to be doing something. Right, I'm going to go and get the laptop and we'll just see if it's actually doing anything. If we get a picture on it or something. Right, I'm back with the laptop, so we'll jump over to the laptop screen. I'm just going to run a program called SADP. And that looks like it there. And I'm sure it had written on the top of it the IP address. Yes, 192.168.112. And if we look on the laptop screen, that's it here. Now the only problem is this is going to have a password on it still that we don't know. So we'll have to reset the password to factory defaults. There should be a little reset button inside here somewhere. That's probably in here where it says SD card. And that looks like it there. Now I'm not sure whether you just press it or whether you've got to press it when it's booting up. Let's try both. So I've just pressed it there now. I'll just disconnect the power. And I'll power it back up while I've got it pressed. Right, we'll come back to this in a few moments. So on the laptop screen now, if you notice it says here, inactive. So what we should be able to do now is if we select that one, and we'll just give it a password. I'll just cancel that and I'll just give it an IP address on my network. We'll try 169. Actually, if I just enable DHCP, that'd probably be easier. Didn't like that. That's weird. It's got a weird IP address there now. Right, so I've just rebooted it, and it seems to have an IP address now of 85. So let's just connect to that. Hey, it looks like we have a picture. I don't know how you alter the aspect ratio or whatever, because it looks a bit long and thin. Let's see if we can move it about. And it indeed seems like we can. Right, so all that's required now then is this TVS diode then, and I think we'll call this one a fix. And just a little extra here, because I know people will be saying, well, you didn't try the AC input and that could still be broken. So what I've done, I've connected it to the bench power supply, which gives out DC, but seeing this is just going through a bridge rectifier in any case, it's being converted into DC. So if I just lift this up a bit, and you can see the power over Ethernet isn't connected up. I've just got the bench power supply connected to the two wires here that were originally in the power plug here. I'm just taking them out. I'll switch the power supply on now. And you can see the LEDs have came on. So it's working on that as well. Right then, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more like it, please subscribe. Any comments or questions, please leave it in the comment section below. And as always, have a great day. Thanks for watching.